Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. We had a wonderful morning today. Thank you to Lalaman Baking Solutions for sponsoring our episode on sugar reduction. Some of you are very interested and asked the right questions during the seminar. And if you weren't there, you're probably thinking, why should I attend a seminar on sugar reduction? Because I don't need to reduce sugar in my formulations, right? Well, wrong. Remember that FDA ruling on added sugars. So you would eventually have to state how much sugar you add in your bread. And when your customers look at your brioche or look at your honey wheat formula, they are going to question on the amount of sugars in there. So it's in your best interest to research the different ways that you could reduce sugar in your bread products. And if you need a recording of what happened this morning, we will let you know when it is published next week. All right. A lot of good questions, and Lalaman has an amazing sugar reduction solution. Okay, check it out next week. All right. Today, I am going to talk about our next class, which is on croissant production. All right. Why croissants? Well, let me tell you, croissants has never gone away. And we have just seen amazing technology for this particular product over the years. And it stems from the different kind of fat to different equipment. All right. So we are going to talk about it now next seminar. So if you haven't already signed up for a croissant production seminar, please do so in our academy. It's free to attend because awesome sponsors like Fridge has agreed to sponsor the entire seminar for you. Okay, we are going to talk about the types of flour to use. Bread flour. So, are all bread flour created equal? No. Let's talk about that. Okay, we are going to talk about the liquids used. We're going to talk about the kinds of yeast used. We're going to talk about the level of sugar, the function of sugar, salt, and not to forget the kind of fat. So, croissant production is focused on laminated doughs, right? So, it's dough, fat, dough, fat, dough, fat. Okay? How are you going to utilize that technology to the best of your knowledge? Okay, if you have a croissant baker in your facility who has done this for the longest time, not a problem. But if you're experiencing turnaround in your facility, just like any other baking facility in this industry, we're going through the great resignation. Okay, with that comes around um, younger workers that have no knowledge. So this would be a good seminar. It's a free seminar to really teach them the basics. All right. So, what else? Okay. Did you know that the most important thing for a flaky croissant is what? Hey, I am on LinkedIn. And if you would like to comment on LinkedIn, please do so. What do you think is the most CCP, the most critical control point in croissant production? I'll come back to the answer later. Okay. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't do croissants. I just buy them from somebody else, and It's great if you have a great croissant provider, but if your quality keeps fluctuating from terrible flakiness to average flakiness, and the next day you're like, my croissants are not rising, then it's time to make your own croissants. And how do you do that? Okay. Um, anyway, we want to talk about some of the things that are going into the croissant, like fermented dough. What is the importance of fermented dough? And why would you ferment the dough overnight? Why do typical artisan bakers ferment the dough overnight? And if you can't ferment the dough overnight, what can you do to cut that fermentation time down, right? Because not every croissant facility has the space to do overnight ferments, right? So we will talk about that, and we will address questions on that too. I believe that it starts from the quality of the flour into the fermentation. Okay. And people don't usually talk about that when they talk about making croissants. They always focus on the lamination piece, where I am more concerned about your output rate and what contributes to output failure. Okay. And that starts with the flour, that starts with fermentation. You need to give it enough fermentation to really allow it to machine properly. And this goes back to typical machining problems. Okay. What causes break and tear in machines? The inability of the dough to plasticize, the inability of the dough and the fat laminated systems to plasticize, and your output rate. Okay. So basically, the faster you go, the more your dough is going to tear. Okay. And if you don't put any specific dough conditioners in there, it's not going to help it. And on top of that, if you give it a straight dough proof, no, it's not going to work. Okay. So if your baker does not have this knowledge, they are consistently going to bake and create subpar croissant products that are not going to flake, that does not have the value, and does not have the consistency. Okay, so back to my original question. What is the CCP? What is the critical control point of every croissant production? I still don't see any comments. Come on. All right, I'll give it to you anyway. It's the temperature at which it is processing. Okay. And if you have an uncontrollable environment, you're going to have an uncontrollable product. If you can control your environment to room temperature, which is 35 degrees Celsius or less, okay, the cooler the better, because you are dealing with really delicate product with the butter in there. Okay. And like I said, the environment really dictates what you put in the dough. So if you can control your environment, you can control the temperature of your dough, that is the most important thing. Okay. It's not the equipment. It's not the dough temperature. It's your environment. Okay. If you work in a really hot environment, then cool it down. If you can't use air conditioners to cool it down, bring it to a separate room to laminate the dough and to process it. If that is not possible, then do it in the wee early mornings of your shop or your facility where it's still cool, not in the middle of the day. Okay. And there are many, many steps that you could take to help keep that temperature consistent within your production facility. And this is so crucial among any bakeries. Let's not talk about bread bakeries. Let's not talk about cookie bakeries or pie bakeries. Laminated dough bakeries is really crucial. All right. Temperature control is really crucial for laminated dough facilities. If you can control that, 80% of your quality problems will go away. Okay, so let's talk about that in our next webinar. Let's have you come ask us questions on your croissant production at our next seminar. Okay, so sign up by using the link below, and we will see you for any more croissant questions on our baking industry professionals page, both on LinkedIn and Facebook. All right. Okay, bakers, have a great Thursday and see you next week. Bye.